Ever since the beginning of the Zionist bloody assault on Gaza, Olmert and Barak and Livni and some Israeli officials have made some threats and some stern warnings against any other front of war. And what they meant was Lebanon. And they took steps and made procedures on the borders. There is now, as you do know, certain measures are being taken on the borders between occupied Palestine and Lebanon. And they called on the inhabitants of the settlements in northern occupied Palestine to get themselves ready for a certain battle. There are two chances, there are two situations, and here I must speak with national responsibility, and I do not want to scare anyone or make anyone feel anxious or worried, but we cannot be tricked as well. There are two choices. We have, of course, the scenario as the following. All what the Israelis are doing in northern occupied Palestine are precautionary measures in case something happens from Lebanon, in case Lebanon takes some steps against the Israelis. But there is another scenario, another possible scenario, and we cannot turn a blind eye to this scenario, which is at this very bad timing, at the time where some Arab regimes are collaborating, at the time where we have weak Arab positions, at the time where there is international emptiness, international transitional period. As you do know, we're in a transitional period in America. Obama will take office or Bush will leave. At this bad time, another scenario exists, which is that the enemy may resort to taking some steps against Lebanon, might resort to a military assault against Lebanon, to take the chance now. And they need this, whether it be for the sake of the Israeli elections or to try and better the reputation of the Israeli army. And we must not sleep easily and say that Israel does not wage two wars at the same time. Previously it waged 3 and 4 wars at the same time. So the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army and the Lebanese people and also the Lebanese resistance must be vigilant and must take precautionary measures and must not take what's happening around us lightly. Even the issue of the 8 rockets which were discovered a few days ago in southern Lebanon before the attack on Gaza. And I'd like to raise a question. Who put these rockets before the war began? And when these rockets were discovered in southern Lebanon, some in Lebanon, unfortunately, look, some politicians in Lebanon, when the 2 Lebanese were kidnapped by Israelis in southern Lebanon recently, some Lebanese politicians were silent. And these Lebanese politicians didn't show any reservations, didn't show any concern for these 2 Lebanese civilians who were kidnapped. But these same politicians, when these rockets were discovered, when these Katyusha rockets were discovered in Naqoura in southern Lebanon, they started to speak and raise theories, and then they started to point the fingers of accusation towards us. Even one of these Lebanese politicians said nobody can take any steps in southern Lebanon, nobody can do anything in Lebanon except Hezbollah. If this is their political analysis, this is a catastrophe. This is wrong. But although they accused us in this way, and some even accused Hezbollah of putting these rockets, I'd like to answer these same Lebanese politicians. I'd like to tell them, we in Hezbollah, we have courage and we take responsibility for anything, any act we do, and we do not hide behind our fingers. We have courage and we announce what we do. And we are not in the position of being under accusation to defend ourselves. But what happened, yes, is suspicious from another angle. Can't Israel Can't Israel to come into Lebanon and plant these rockets? Can't the spies of Lebanon, who are high in number in Lebanon, there are spy networks in Lebanon, as you know, can't they plant these rockets, not to show unity with the people of Gaza, but to give justification to Israel to wage a military assault against Lebanon? And even these same Lebanese politicians who I referred to contributed to giving this justification. They said that putting these Katyusha rockets gives an excuse for Israel to wage a war. Let's assume this happens. Is this enough for Israel to assault Lebanon militarily? Is this enough for Israel to destroy Lebanon? You are the ones, these Lebanese politicians are giving these excuses for Israel to invade Lebanon via making these stupid remarks. I am not now in the context of going deeply into this issue, but I now am in the context of calling on Lebanon and the region, but specifically Lebanon. I call on Lebanon, which defeated Israel 2 times, and time and again. But the most famous defeats were in the year 2000 and in the year 2006. We in Lebanon must be cautious, and I don't want to hide anything from you. I called on the resistance fighters in southern Lebanon to be deployed and to be cautious, because we are facing a cruel enemy, a murderous enemy, and we don't know the magnitude of the plans which are being drawn in the region and in the world. And we do not fear what happened in the July 2006 war, and we do not fear what is happening now in Gaza. We believe in our choices, and we are ready to face, I repeat, to face any military assault on our territory, any assault on our dignity. And our slogan was written with our blood, and we will face all those who assault us, whomever they may be. We face them via our resistance, via our presence, and via our belonging to the school of thought of Imam Hussein, which is, we will not be humiliated. My dear brothers and sisters, we all in Lebanon, in the Arab and Islamic world, we in these historic days, and especially in these days of Ashura, we must take our responsibility, our historic and religious responsibility towards what's going on in Gaza. What is going on in Gaza, its results won't be only on Gaza or won't only be on Palestine, but will be on the whole Ummah. We must continue to take steps, and it's not enough to make a protest here or to make a strike there. We must put all our efforts into defending our people in Gaza. And tomorrow, which was announced by Imam Seyed Khamenei as a day of mourning for all of the mujahideen and the resistance fighters, tomorrow also will be a day of mourning from us, and tomorrow we will express our support and our unity with our people in Gaza. And tomorrow will be a day of mourning in support of our martyrs in Lebanon, of our martyrs in Gaza. And I call on you tomorrow in the afternoon to stage a protest in the Raya sports ground, to take part in this mourning and to take part in commemorating the memory of these martyrs in Gaza. Once again, I call on you to take part in a protest in southern Beirut tomorrow afternoon. And I know that